We're back. Battlegrounds is over. We're gonna have a nice. Wait, who the hell is that in the Impact Zone? I mean, the NXT arena. What the? What the hell was NXT thinking tonight? We wanted a nice, calm, relaxing show. We had a banger of a PLE. We're gonna take some time. We got about 7 weeks to build to the next show in July. 7 or 8 episodes. We don't need to do anything crazy. Nope. We got 2 debuts tonight. Well, debuts. Free agents run amok at NXT. We've got in the hot seat podcast joining us. Thank you, Daphne. We greatly appreciate it. Mel is in the chat. Hello, Mel. Thank you for joining us. Mel, stay tuned. There's a little bit of Eddie Thorpe in here, so make sure you pay attention when we get to him a little bit later. I know you're excited for that. Wow. See, everything was nice and easy and calm and just going about NXT's business until about 8:30.
Pretty much.
They waited about half an hour. Mark Talks Wrestling is joining us. Hi. Sean Cena is joining us. Hello, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if she just misspelled my name, but thank you. I greatly appreciate it. No. I think it might be the other Eddie, but you never know. I'll take what I can get when I get it. You know what I mean? Yes, absolutely. Sean Cena says it. We absolutely need to say it. Congratulations to Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera. They are expecting. Man, WWE's women's division. I mean, you could make an all-star WrestleMania
like, you're a mother.
match.
You're a mother. You're about to become a mother. Everybody be a mother.
I did see a funny thing. I don't know if it's everybody she's feuded with, but some of those big feuds. Asuka feuded with Lacey. Lacey got pregnant. Asuka was about to feud with Becky. Becky got pregnant. Asuka feuded with with Alexa a few months ago. Alexa, Bianca, watch out. Especially after that Nick Cannon thing. Yeah, you got Carmella too, and the Nick Cannon thing. All kinds of craziness going on there. But no, in all seriousness, congratulations. Sometimes the best things come from an unexpected surprise. When you least expect it, life sometimes gives you the greatest things. Whew. I really was. Maybe.
No.
I doubt it, but you never know. I don't think the name's going to be kayfabe. I'll be honest, but. Whew. I mean, NXT, man. They did not pull their punches tonight. They were, oh, cool. We got 2 hours. Let's just jump everything on night 1. I was never gonna miss Tiffy time. Don't you worry. I was there in Lowell for Tiffy time. I was here. Yeah. I'll be here for Tiffy time. No, I was never gonna miss Tiffy time.
That's one time he would not miss.
No.
Telling you right now.
I may or may not have more photos of Tiffany Stratton's match than any other match on the card. I might not. Nobody can prove otherwise.
I can kind of prove that.
You have not seen all the photos. You've only seen about half of them.
Yeah, that already gives you a lot more of a proof already.
Speaking of photos, I did want to do something fun. So before we start this week's show, I didn't really get to, I was tired. I was exhausted. I was hurting. I was not in the mood to really talk Battlegrounds on Sunday. That show was amazing from start to finish. My seats were fantastic. I adored my seats. I wish I were a section over like Throwback was, because that section was a little bit emptier, so a lot more people got moved up in that section as opposed to mine. I was also right next to production, so I was in an iffy spot where I didn't want to push the boundaries of trying to move up a couple rows, because I probably could have gotten front row behind production, but you start bending that line between how close do you want to get to WWE production staff without a ticket that says that you can be there before you push your luck or before it runs out. But I did have a fantastic time. That opener was amazing. Great way to start the show. Jumping right into the Heritage Cup, which came off amazingly in the arena. I still haven't gotten a chance to watch back the entire show on Peacock yet. I've seen the opening match. I have not seen the rest of the show. I haven't seen how much it really comes across how loud the building was via the show. I know AEW apparently had some trouble getting their noise to go through. But yeah, it was a fun show. All the matches killed it. Nobody went half-assed. Everybody went full out. There wasn't a bad match of the night. When Tiffany Stratton versus Lyra Valkyria is the longest match of the night, as Astrid pointed out to me, and ironically, if I had to rank the matches, was probably 3 or 4 out of 6. Like, that night was stacked. That last man standing match was unbelievable. The sounds of that match live in the building, the TV doesn't do it justice what those shots sound like live. Those kendo sticks. That chair shot. You know, seeing Tiffany win, having that nice moment, felt great to be there live, you know, to see that moment. Being there for Mello coming home and having that moment where he just, after the show goes off the air and he's with his people and he goes and says hello to his mother and his cousin and he walks around the arena with him and Trick and they're all taking selfies. And Trick took 3 times the selfies Mello did. Like, Mello was like, I'm done. I want to get out of here. I'm taking some selfies. Trick was like, whatever. I'll just take all the rest. No, it was utterly fantastic. And before we get to my little surprise, we have Chris Paris saying Gacy should have won in his opinion. I agree. I think it would have been great to put the title on Gacy. But, like Paris says, I'm happy for, you know, Lee to get the record-setting thing. I think it's nice that after Mello, we have a nice long reign. So you can, like, the A championship thing still fits. Mello, you know, raised the prestige of that title. And now Wesley's doing the same in a big, different way. The big, strong boy's there too. You know, I'm a Gacy guy. I've always been a Gacy guy. He's just got so much going on. And Tyler Bate is kind of bland. He's just a little boring.
No, I'm not.
He has his towel. He has his mustache. We're not going to talk about that guy tonight. This isn't an AEW show. You know, but I did make a little surprise. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to give you about 1.5 minutes of this. This is a fun little, I call it a photo log. It's a video with a bunch of the photos that I took set to a very interesting piece of music. We'll be back in just about 2 minutes. just a little something to put together to highlight some of the photos that I took that actually came out halfway decent, because I wanted to post more Ilya Dragunov photos. The man doesn't stay still long enough during his
Yeah.
entrance to take any photos. Like, I have 7 photos and they're all completely unusable because his arm just keeps moving because he won't sit still.
Yeah.
The ring post, while a fantastic spot for the video that I've posted on Twitter of Tiffany Stratton doing not 1 but 2 PMEs, while great for that because it was the perfect spot to be able to get that in its entirety and perfection, it made a lot of other photos very difficult to take because everybody stood in the middle of the ring right behind the goddamn ring post. Or they stood on the side of the ring right next to me, but the angle is such a crap angle that you can't get a good shot. Like Gallus. Gallus did great standing right there, but you can't get a good angle without getting up and moving past production. And it was just difficult. But I had a ball. It was great. I honestly thought we would talk more about Battlegrounds than we were going to talk about tonight's episode, because I didn't think after the beginning of the main, like the what they opened the show with, I'm like, cool, that's going to be their show opener. They're going to have something big at the end with Mello to kind of be his next, opponent. Not who I thought they were going to bring out.
Yeah.
And then I thought that, that would be the show, and it'd just be kind of like little itty bit. Nope. And NXT's like, 9 weeks? No. We're not waiting 9 weeks to get this stuff going. We're going now. And if NXT's going to go now, we're going to go now. But if we're going to go now, we need to remember one thing. We got to take our Rogue Energy with us. So go ahead and scan that QR code right below Astrid. She's pointing right to it. Or go to rogueenergy.com and use the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. There are all kinds of fantastic flavors there. I suggest my favorite flavor, the one I've absolutely had, and nobody can prove otherwise, the watermelon, is absolutely fantastic. There is no proof otherwise that I haven't had the watermelon, and it is great. Other people in OLE have all had it, so go ahead and take your look. I know Chris Best just got his from the Raw Watch Along crew, and he's excited to go ahead and try his. I know Mel put a big order in the beginning, and she loved her blood orange. Parrish is talking all about that Rocket Pop and always up to date on what's in stock and out of stock. So if you have any questions about what's in stock and out of stock and you don't want to go to rogueenergy.com, just ask Parrish and I'm sure he'll be able to tell you one way or the other. Mel's saying the blood orange is fantastic. But they do great stuff. They have all kinds of different stuff, whether it be hydration, whether it be energy. They've got everything you need. And as Parrish says, the strawberry mango just released today. So go ahead and jump in and get your Rogue Energy. With that being said, drink. Because he's here in the... For those who don't know, he is in the back end, so he's going to yell at me if I don't.
Yeah.
All right. NXT kicked off, as they promised us, with the women's weaponized cage match. This was good.
Yeah.
A bit more brutal than I thought it would be. I'm like, they're gonna go to town, but it's not gonna be anything like Ilya and no. They saw Ilya and they were like, all right, we can do this. I wasn't expecting short leather straps. I wasn't expecting a trash can that didn't really break. Because God, that must have hurt Gigi. Like, the one thing about trash cans, and the reason why you use trash cans, is because they crumple well. Like, when you land on it, they crumple. That trash can did not crumple for her at all. Ashley, I know you didn't get to catch a lot of this. You had to keep going back and forth because you have some exciting news that you're going to share in the future about what was going on tonight. So we'll tease that for another night when you can go ahead and reveal that. But I know you weren't able to catch a lot of this and you were trying to catch it in between. It was brutal. JC attacks Gigi before the match. Hell, before even Gigi Dolan is run out by Alicia Taylor. JC's already attacked her. She throws her into the stairs. She throws her into the cage. She slams the door on her a couple times. Really good stuff. But it kind of spelled out that JC Jane was to win the match.
Yeah.
very, very often when the heel goes ahead and gets the big attack in the beginning, that big attack is about the best thing the heel's gonna get. And
Mhm.
JC laid the lumber to her in the early going with the chair, with the, especially with the leather strap. Um, Back and forth it went. JC controlled a good majority of it.
Mhm.
I hated that there was most of this match in the ad break. Those picture in
Mhm.
picture ad breaks. I get that we get to see the match, but on a match like this, I don't want to be watching half an ad and half a match. I would have rather they say the first half hour is commercial free and
Yeah.
then backload the ads in the second half. I'd much rather backloaded ads to not interrupt something like this.
Mhm.
The match didn't last long enough that you couldn't play around it with the commercial breaks. There was a way to do it, I think, and I really am unfortunate that they didn't choose to go that route to play around the commercial breaks. Um, Gigi hits a great looking choke slam from the top rope through
Mhm.
through a friggin' table, and then jumps down and gets the pin. I really wish she would have jumped on her on the broken table. I think that would have been a nice finish to that, but she gets down, she gets the stack pin. 1, 2, 3. Big win for Gigi Dolan. The end of the feud, I hope.
Please.
Done and dusted.
Let him be
I
done.
I will say Booker had a great line in this. Not everything's been roses for Gigi Dolan. Twofold. One, this is while she's using the rose covered bat to strangle essentially JC Jane. But also a nice little hint that happened more than once tonight during this match where they'd used the word rose a couple times. To the point, even Mandy Rose tweeted after the match that it was impressive. She was impressed. She definitely watched her girls go at it. Ashley, what did you think having gotten a chance to go back and forth with it?
I think the only part that bothered me was when I believe they had a chair in between the turnbuckles, and Gigi kind of like I think JC kind of threw Gigi in there, and Gigi kind of stopped, and then as she stopped, she like waited a moment and looked back to see that JC was there, and then she moved to do the next move. But other than that, I love how brutal they work with each other, and I notice this happens in WB often when they're best friends. They really go at it with each other. We always see it with like the KO and Sammy when they feuded with each other, or with Sasha and Bailey. There's like the best friends are the best rivals in on TV, so it makes a lot of sense that they had the chemistry they did and they worked so well with each other. This is exactly what I expected it to be, and more too. And like you said, how brutal it was. Once I saw JG stacking those chairs, I was like, "You're setting up. You're going through it, honey." And then doing that little kind of like spine buster, I would say, kind of thing towards the
Mm-hmm.
chairs, and love that part of it. Even when she hit her in the trash can, I sent you. I saw the girl in the background, the fans going, "Oh my god!" Like it was incredible to have the visual of like somebody in the crowd like reacting to it at that moment there too. Yeah, and even that kind of cannonball towards the corner that that JC did to Gigi. It's like everything was well done. I loved it from beginning to end. Just curious now with the ending of it. How do they move forward? Who goes next to face each one of these girls now that they're not, really teaming up or they're really facing each other? And I want to see what they do without each other now because they've been together not only as a tag team but going against each other now, like all in a row. So I want to see what it's like for both of them now. They're not, helping each other in any way whatsoever. So I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, this was great opener. I wish it would have been the main event, but after what we saw tonight, I was like, I understand why that was the main event. But yeah, I feel like this would have been like a huge main event to have with the amount of time it got and how brutal it was. I feel like it would have been a great ending as well.
Here's, and I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with everything you've said. This could have been shoved on. You had time. This could have been shoved on the card for Battleground. I could wholeheartedly see that. I wouldn't have wanted it. I I I, I said it before, and I kept saying it in the weeks building up. If they're gonna do Ilian and Dijak, and they're gonna do JC and Gigi, somebody has to miss the pay per view, because you
Mhm.
couldn't do both those matches in the same night.
Yep.
Um, you just couldn't. You can't. Also, Vic Joseph had line of the night. Um, I love it when NXT takes these random shots because I never expect them. He says nobody's sitting on their phones. Nobody's not watching the action. They're all paying attention. And I'm like, oh, that's a slight double or nothing dig. They don't do it often, but when they do, they're pretty smart with them.
Yeah.
Mark is saying that in the UK we don't have that. We just have the ads. That's unfortunate. That's even worse for you guys. I'd almost wish that I would have just the ad, because then I wouldn't be like half distracted with my eyes, because the flashing lights of the ads are specifically to catch your eye. So it makes you leave the match and you lose that little bit. Plus, without the commentary for something like this, it really loses all its value. It doesn't lose it in an arena. It doesn't lose it. But when you're watching it on TV, you need that little bit extra. But the girls killed it. They had a great show. I'm glad they opened with this because it gave the girls time. There was no chance they were going to get shortchanged. They were like, you take the time you need, get it done, and have fun. Also, I think Parrish, if he's still in the comments, can go ahead and definitely tell us this. I think the reason why we talk about those best friends and why they have such great matches together is often because of the fact that best friends trust each other with such a high level that you're allowed to go a little bit further. You're allowed to go a little bit deeper because you know that person's got your back. You know that no matter what happens in that ring, they're going to take care of you. And while I think every wrestler goes in there knowing that their opponent's going to take care of them, it's a little bit easier when you have that trust level of
it's like an extra
friend.
layer of trust as well, not just a regular buddy. That's a little bit more trust than usual.
Yeah. It's like, I trust Astrid that if I make a mistake, she's going to be able to have my back to cover it up. Whereas if I'm on with somebody I've never worked with, they're professional. I'm sure they're going to be able to have my back and cover it. But you don't know. You never know. So I think that had something to do with it. We get the standard pay-per-view recap after every ad break. When they come back, we get a short little vignette about what happened at the pay-per-view. Maybe it's just because I was there that I just hated all these, because I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I would have preferred just one, like, to open the show as usual, and then start the match with the girls and just leave it at that. That's it.
We have Mark saying, personally, I thought the winner of this match should be the next. You know, I don't hate it, but at the same time, I don't think either one of them are the right next challenger for Tiffany. We'll get to that as we go through later on. But I definitely think that you've got to JC Jane and Gigi Dolan, no matter which one would have won, I don't think was ready to be the next challenger. Because like with any new champion, like with Seth Rollins, the next few challengers have to be people that you can beat. You don't want to just necessarily just have a chance where that title just goes away right away. And right now with that women's championship, they need stability. Yeah. I mean, think about this. Mandy had an almost 300-day reign with that championship. No, almost 400-day reign, right? It was over a year. Yeah. So I think she was close to 400. I think she was just shy of it when she lost the title. Because I kept saying if she hit the new year, she had 400, and she was right there. And it was like 3 days before the new year, and they took the fucking thing off of her. But no. So Mandy held it forever and a day. HPC bad guys, thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it, gents. I say gents because I see HPC multiple people. Mark's correcting me. It is over 400 days. It is 413. You'd think, as big of a Mandy Rose fan as I am, that it would be tattooed on my arm somewhere that I would know. 413. But after she wins, Roxanne wins it, and seemingly is ready to have another decent length title reign. But for whatever reason, they go through whatever they went through at Mania, where they kind of, sort of, not really strip her of the championship and announce the ladder match that they're going to have to crown a new but defend the title kind of thing. Yeah. So no real stability there after she won. You know what I'm saying? Like, she won it and then all the craziness started. And then Indy wins it. And then Indy gets hurt in essentially her second title defense, I think it was. The match at NXT with Roxanne and Tiffany. They're about to give it to Tiffany. who was supposed to win the ladder match when they decided to apparently pivot to Indy Hartwell for some reason. Like, they just need some stability. They just need a little bit of time. I wouldn't be surprised if Tiffany holds on to this thing until Survivor Series time, Rumble time. If she loses it, I wouldn't take it off her until then.
I would say minimum until the end of the year, at least, like minimum.
I don't necessarily think you have to do it a minimum. I could see her losing it at the end of the fall. Like I said, Survivors. I could see if they do something Survivor Series weekend or around that time that you could probably take the title off of her if you really needed to. We'll get to Tiffany in a little bit. We got Throwback coming in saying they are two awesome people. It was an insane weekend. Still amazed at the Battleground. Mellow beat Breaker clean. Lily got a photo with Trick, and now Ali is in NXT. Please, I beg, everything is holy. Give me Ali and Mel. We'll get to Ali. We haven't quite got there. It's wait. Is that? Yep. We'll get there. But yes, Throwback. It was an amazing night. All kinds of good stuff happened. I'm glad Lily had a great time. I'm glad you had a great time bringing her. It was fantastic. Mark jumps in, says, I said until WrestleMania season she needs to hold a title till, and I've already predicted who I think will dethrone her. Well, there you go. It was great seeing you. I was so out of it and so done by the end of that night. I wasn't able to hook up with you afterwards for photos and chit-chat, but we will hook up at some point in the near future to go ahead and have a couple drinks and have some dinner. Almost, Carl. You've almost had the time of your life. I had to play on words with the title of this episode after everything that happened. We get a Wesley interview backstage where the Dyad comes running in and they're about to attack him for Joe Gacy. And I was like, oh wow, they're still on the show. I'm impressed.
Right.
Because at the pay-per-view, I don't know if you guys saw it on TV, but 2 fingers are the only fingers being held up now. The 4 fingers of the 4 roots, 1 tree are all gone. It's now 2.
I feel like they always kind of did that when they went to the ring, though. That's why I don't see it differently. I don't know.
Okay.
That's why I don't know. I might have to look back and see, but I feel like usually they went like this. All 4 of them went like this.
All right, maybe I'm just seeing too much into 2 because it's just Ava and it's going to just be Ava and Joe real soon. Whether it is or isn't, it's going to be just Ava and Joe real soon. But Tyler Bate comes back in to defend Wes Lee, and he says, "Remember what happened at Battleground was strictly for the championship. I've still got your back." And I'm like, sure you do, Tyler. Until exactly. I've got your back until I stab you with the knife that you just handed me. It's a coming, folks. Mark my words.
Mm-hmm.
We then get Tony D'Angelo getting his mugshots. By the way, these mugshots are taken last Tuesday night, which I like the creativity here that you show it to us this week, but they were smart enough to put last week's Tuesday night.
Yes, that's 523.
Yeah, I caught it as I was watching it a second time. I'm like, oh.
I don't know if it's me. I've never been arrested, so I wouldn't be able to know. But shouldn't usually like the little things say, like, for example, Orlando Police Department, whatever it is, it just says Police Department. I'm like,
it should. But
should have said Orlando at least.
WWE's in a mythical place where nothing exists and everything's weird. Yeah. Gallus is then backstage making fun of Tony D'Angelo and asking who's going to be their next challengers. To which, of course, Stax comes up because they're making fun of Tony D'Angelo. And as all baby faces are when being mocked by 3 definitely bigger than you heels that you absolutely can't fight by yourself, Stax decides to go ahead and attack all 3 members of Gallus with no backup, and that went about as well as you could expect. Mark says, boo Gallus. I don't understand why. He's kind of Scottish. I mean, he lives in England. That's almost near Scotland. It's about the same. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I've learned my lesson about England and Scotland and Ireland not all being in the same place. Tom called me out on that. I've learned. I looked at a map. They're slightly different. They're close, but they're not all the same place.
Close, but no cigar. Too late.
I love you, Mark. It's great. Anyways, moving on. Gallus kicks Stax's butt pretty well. I mean, what else did he expect, right? Any thoughts on Stax trying to take on 3 members of Gallus by himself?
Baby faces being dummies, sure.
Hey, at least he could still walk, which is impressive. Because if I were running NXT, Stacks would not have made that match with Joe.
I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, if you say you're good to go, but that's a different story.
But now we get Mello coming out. And while I love talking about Mello because he's my boy and he's local, I'm going to let Astrid go ahead and take this over. Tell us about Mello and tell us about Trick in the group that came out.
And they're visitors. No, as usual, we get the champion just celebrating his win and being in his hometown, especially his hometown, because we don't get that often that maybe the hometown person just having that victory there. Uh, and then we get Noam Dark coming out and bragging about his victory, Dragon Lee, and he's like, "Well, I beat him not once but twice." And I love how Trick tells him it took all of you guys for you to beat Dragon Lee, though. And I love how the way that Trick starts saying Supernova, he starts saying it similarly to Noam Dar. So it sounded really funny when he did the first say it. Um, and I love how in this point we have Carmelo comparing the Heritage Cup to the NXT Championship. He goes, "You're in one level, but I'm in the highest level because I have the NXT Championship." So it's like we're not really in the same level. And he's like, "I don't think you could even beat once." And I love how like Trick is going back and forth with Noam Dar as Carmelo's doing as well. And he goes, "Yeah, those are talking." And he tells like dismissing Trick from the side so that way him and Carmelo can handle the business there. Um, yeah, I love the back and forth between all three of them, and then Noam Dar, especially with Noam Dar and Trick in there. I feel like they had a great back and forth that I just loved. But yeah, it was just that way of Noam Dar coming in and saying, "I want to have a title shot," so he gets a title shot later on for the main event.
I love the idea of load management in minutes. Like, I understand maybe, I don't know how much of a basketball fan you are or how much of a hockey fan you are, but for anybody who's a basketball or a hockey fan, you understand minute management. You understand how you can't always be out there all the time. You have to manage how often you play. Nobody plays 48 minutes of a basketball game. No hockey player, aside from the goalie, plays 48 minutes. Like, everybody comes on, comes off. And I love how they're using that with Mello as they're trying to dismiss him. Mind you, Noam Dar just came back for a break that was how long? How long ago did NXT say he was on the last NXT UK that aired? How long was it between that moment and the moment he turned up for his match the week after he showed up with the Heritage Cup?
Yeah. Okay.
Mello's wrestled more on NXT than Noam has since Noam got here.
Yeah.
But Noam is being a great heel and pointing out, "Oh, you're not doing what you need to do. You're not living up to the mark that you need to be." And then, like you said, Trick. "Oh, the Supernova!" Like, oh, it's just so great. I love Trick.
Yeah.
But no, the absolute line of the night was absolutely Noam Dar. The adults are talking, Trick. Stop talking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so good. Because I thought Trick was going to punch him right then and there. I really did.
Yeah. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, which I know is not a great source, but it's the best way I can get dates. It says he will regain the Heritage Cup from Mark Coffey on the July 7th tapings. But then the closure of the brand was in September 2022 with the Heritage Cup. And then it says he will reappear in April 2023. So at this point, it's almost a year.
I was going to say, so say September. Say
Yeah.
he wrestled on the last show in September. So he took 7 months off. September to October, October to November, November to December, December to January, January, February. Yeah, 7 months. I can count. Yay. You know what? Ilya Dragunov and Dijak taught me how to count. I can now count to 10. Because I got
One
a lot
step
of
at a
practice.
time. That's amazing.
I got a lot of practice counting up this weekend with the last man standing match. No, this was fantastic. I love that Mello should know better. He is a heel. He knows better than to get goaded into this. But he lets himself get goaded in, and he says, "Fine, we'll have the match." So later on tonight, we have an NXT Championship match. We have Cora now, here's where Ed's NXT knowledge starts to go to shit. Ed just maths better than Melball. I had to use my fingers. I'm glad it was less than 10 because then I would have had to use my toes, and that would have hurt. 'cause my legs still hurt. We get Cora Jade backstage in a women's locker room bitching to a variety of women. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to name the few that I saw that I know.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I saw on Twitter in a post tagged by Reality of Wrestling. I think she's one of Booker's girls that was. So there's Tatum Paxi that was the one that Cora was trying to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
That was essentially ignoring her. Next to her is the girl I saw online that I think is part of Reality of Wrestling, because I've never seen her in NXT before. You
If I'm
know who
not
I'm
mistaken,
talking?
she might have done a live event or two because I think she was debuted recently. I saw a lot of people like talking positively about her. I
Okay.
know I wrote down her name. I'm trying to find it though.
In the back. In the
Kalani,
back.
I think,
Okay,
with
could be
the
Kalani.
curls, right?
Yeah, the curls right next
Yeah.
to Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
In the back, I think it was Leon and Faraz talking to each other.
Yep.
And then we have the blonde, who I can't for the life of me recognize
It's
who the hell she
Brooklyn. Yeah.
was.
Mm-hmm.
Astrid has told me it's Brooklyn Barlow. I'll go,
Yeah.
I don't know what a Brooklyn Barlow is, but if you tell me that is who it is, then it's fine. And she was talking with somebody else who I didn't recognize.
No, there's one or
Uh,
two I didn't recognize.
and then Ivy Nile comes in and basically says, "Shut up, Buttercup. You can deal with your poor eye." To which Cora Jade goes, "Oh, well, you weren't even wrestling on Saturday and your boys lost, so you're just bitter." And she goes, "Yeah, but at least I was at the show on Saturday. Where were you?" And I was like,
Mm,
well, Cora was obviously backstage. Braun Breaker was in the main event. It's not like she's going to stay home. Just saying.
maybe.
I'm just saying. She's most likely backstage. You probably saw her, Ivy. Come on. Um, this was a segment.
Yeah.
I saw Doc tweet this, and I'll agree.
Yes, I was about to say
I
about
was gonna.
like the core not
All right,
not
so go
connecting.
ahead. Go ahead, and
Yeah,
you talk about Doc's tweet then.
I saw it and I was about to reply, but I know we were watching the show. But it just I know I understand how he feels, as I felt the same way with her, and I thought maybe the heel turn would kind of help her, kind of bring a little bit more attitude, but it really hasn't, because it feels not genuine. Like even as a heel, it doesn't feel like it fits her. Because let me girl thing, it fits more Tiffany, especially now. But I feel like it doesn't. She's like, "Oh, I'm the mean girl. I'm better than you." But I'm like, "Yeah, but you have no way to prove it. You've done nothing to prove that or back that up." Versus we have somebody like Tiffany who's worked her butt off the last couple months. She has a way to back it up. So it's like whenever I see her, it's like, yeah, people still be celebrating me. It's like not even from like the wrestling aspect, but like as a character, what have you done for people to celebrate you? Nothing. You have done nothing. Your matches haven't been great, your feuds haven't been that great either. You're not, part of like the central stories. And when you are, they end pretty quickly, like her being in the tournament and just like, and they're her laughing at other people. It's like, if this was Tiffany laughing at other people, I would get it because she would kind of show, it was like, oh, I'm better than you. But Cora doesn't have that as a support to like really back up that character. And I was like, can we just turn her back to face at this point? Because this heel persona is not working for her. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I agree. It felt a little odd.
It's frustrating.
It didn't connect. And like Doc says in his tweet. So Doc's tweet was just. I don't know the exact wording.
Yeah.
I'm still having a hard time connecting with Cora Jade.
Mhm.
Um, which is weird because I see a lot of talent in her, and I'm upset because I want to see more from her. And I wholeheartedly agree.
Mhm.
Cora Jade has talent. I see
Mhm.
potential in Cora Jade. She's not like Lash Legend where I feel like she's just a waste of space. I feel like there's something there, but this character's not it.
No,
And
and to quote him, he said, "Cora's still unconvincing to me," which is how I feel as well. I don't know what's not clicking for me because I see the talent is there. I just don't like the execution of the writing, I guess. She reminds me of a little sister who's copying what her big sister did when she entered her punk phase. Even when all this is close to her real style and personality, it feels extremely forced. And that's how I felt as well. And just like it feels like it's not her. Even like it doesn't fit her. Versus we have people like Tiffany who started one way and have completely, have little bits and pieces that's gonna tweak their character to what they are now, and it does fit her. It seems genuine coming from her, but this one is just too much. I don't like it.
yeah, and when we talk about Tiffany, I'm going to compare a little bit further. We have Cora isn't doing enough here in the promos. I hate them not because she's a heel, but because she's not hitting them. I've been saying that for weeks. I go off in my reviews. And like I said, I don't want to sit here and just tear down Cora. I don't think it's necessarily, like Doc says, I don't think it's necessarily her fault. There's something
Mm-hmm.
that's not clicking with the audience, and NXT management is going to seemingly continue to let her try and fail. And by the way, failure isn't a bad thing as long as at
Mm-hmm.
some point they course correct. For those who don't remember, The Rock wasn't The Rock the day he debuted in WWE. He was Rocky Maivia. It wasn't until he started getting death threats and die Rocky die signs in the crowd that things started to turn and he became The Rock. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he debuted in WWE, was the ringmaster. There are plenty of people. Rikishi. Rikishi's a big popular name in the news right now with the Bloodline storyline and what he's been tweeting. Rikishi had multiple, not one, multiple failed characters. Well, he had one really good character and then a couple failed characters on his way to getting back to Rikishi, which got him over again. Like Mark Talks Wrestling, like Mark says, everyone has to learn to fail to learn from it. And I agree. Learning to fail isn't bad. I just hope NXT at some point course corrects.
Mm-hmm.
Because the longer they let her flounder like this, if she doesn't get it, the worse it's going to be. And she could end up being Aaliyah. Not
Mm-hmm.
Aaliyah Mysterio, who, take her what it is, she's kind of bland, but she's an actress and you deal with what you got. I'm talking about Aaliyah, the one who can't wrestle and's been in the company forever and a day and I swear has blackmail photos of somebody doing something naughty. Because I don't understand anyway why she still has a job.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, Lee, if you ever see this, I apologize, but you're not good. You're not fun, you're not entertaining, and your wrestling leaves a lot to be desired. I don't understand. Nobody wants to be Aaliyah, the wrestler.
The wrestler.
Well, I mean, if we want to be I wouldn't want to be Aaliyah, the singer now, but rest in peace, Aaliyah. But I mean, I wouldn't mind being her in the late '90s when she was popular before the bad times hit. Anyways, before I get us canceled, the Dyad comes out with Ava, but more specifically, no Joe Gacy, and they're about to take on Wes and Tyler. But when we come back from the commercial break, everybody's least favorite new subject, because JBBJ and the whole love triangle thing seems to finally be dead. So we obviously have to have Ed's new least favorite bullshit that's going on. Not going to put that one on the screen, Parrish, but it is impressive. Anyways, we have Axiom watching Battleground. I don't know why he's watching it so late. He should have just watched it live like I did. He could have. There was a couple empty seats next to me. He could have just come sat next to me and I could have gotten a selfie with him and sent it to Ashton and go, wish you were here. Axiom and Reggie. No, not Reggie.
No.
Apparently he wants us to call him Scripps still. Apparently he has a long story to it. I really hope we never have to hear this long story. I really, really, really hope we don't ever have to hear the story. Long story short, he wants to go ahead and thank Axiom for opening his eyes after taking off his mask. To which I said, well, yeah, your mask was awful. It was a full-faced mask that you really... No, I'm sorry, it wasn't the full face. That's Axiom's mask, is the full-faced mask. Your mask was even worse because it's a budget Rey Mysterio mask that was really shit, that tried to look like Rey Mysterio mixed with Dragon Lee, and it looks like you made it yourself. Or maybe your kid made it in art class. I don't know. Either way. Yes, I'm glad you got rid of it. And he also wanted to say that's why he went and saved him from Dabakato. Hello, Dara Amazing. Thank you for joining us. No, they're not a team now. I have a bad feeling they're going...
It's not Reggie. We don't have Reggie, though.
Reggie's made it clear. His name is Scripps. He does not want to be called Reggie. Even though that is his given name. He told us that is his given name. If his story is like the wrestling career, is a lot of 3D pictures and no real adult substance. Sorry, any age substance. I mean, I agree. Do you have anything to say about this Axiom segment? I mean, you got to hear Axiom talk. Must have been nice.
That's it. The only positive thing about this, if I count that.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the tag team match, and of course, I'm gonna let Miss Astrid take the lead.
No, I'm kidding. No, I like.
This
I
was
feel
not
like,
the match that you told me you didn't watch, so it's fine. I can have you. I can have you talk about this one.
jeez. Um, I feel like I don't know how to describe this match. Because I feel like half of it was just them having that stalemate in the middle of the match, because none other than Mustafa Ali showed up. And like how watching this, they kept the camera on the wrestlers as they have the stalemate, but I see in the background like a fan going, like, go look over there, and then they changed the angle, and I'm like, but what's going on? Can you show us at least? I want to know what they're so excited. And we see Mustafa just standing there. He goes over the barricade and he's doing some own commentary. But yeah, I feel like the match was, it was going like okay for me, because the stalemate kind of gave me that break in between, so that made me like kind of get not concentrated from that aspect of it. But then we had Ivy going against Ava. They had that back and forth there, and then we have Gacy coming after Tyler and West. So we had a lot going on in this match. But what I liked about it, which I didn't notice until I went on Twitter, is that Mustafa said even in the commentary is like, "Well, don't forget, I'm a free agent. Like I can show up whenever I want," which I like because when we have people like AJ come in during Raw, we're like, "Why is he here?" Versus like with Mustafa, I was like, "I'm a free agent, so I can show up here. I can be on Raw, I can be on SmackDown." That's what I get for being a free agent. So I like having him like apply that to himself and showing up tonight. But I believe it was Weston Tyler that won the match. But I feel like
It did.
it was such a mess of everything that happened in there. Everybody coming in there, and just when Gacy is taking over Tyler and West, we have Mustafa coming in and taking over, attacking him. So Gacy ends up being on the outside, and he raises the hands of the two guys that just won the match.
Yeah, I think it was great that we got a match, and I'm almost I almost feel like I did this to the dyad, especially because I mentioned on the pre-show with Doc about how excited I was that WWE wasn't just burying the GYV on their way out the door.
Mhm.
And this feels like the beginning of burying GYV on their way out the door. This match felt like the least important thing in the world as soon as Mustafa Ali just showed up on that
Yeah.
in the back of the crowd. That being said, wow, what a moment. Like, I didn't see it coming after his match with Gunther at Night of Champions. Fantastic to see him here. Perfect idea for him because he doesn't need to be on the main roster right now. They don't really have anything for him. There's no real spot for him. So why not give him a chance to put over some younger talent? Maybe win a championship. As Mark Talks Wrestling says, and new North American champion Ali, not the happy crap. He does not like Positively Ali.
I think.
By the way, I thought Positively Ali was pretty great. I'll be honest. I enjoyed Positively Ali because I thought it was so funny that he was just being super duper positive. Because for those who don't remember, that's how the New Day started.
Hmm.
That was the New Day. The super positive, always happy people. That's what the New Day used to be. And it was such a great momentum turner for them to be able to transition into the heel turn and really take off with that power of positivity. Um, I think people forget that now with how great they've been for so long doing what they've done. But Positively Ali, or as Negative Ali,
Oh
when he's a heel.
gosh.
Um, I'm excited to see what they do with him. Whether it's in a
Hmm.
tag team, whether it's chasing the North American Championship, which seems to be where he's going. I thought it was going to be going to even higher than that. I thought he was
Hmm.
heading to Mello, and I thought this was just a way to introduce him until we got the end of the
Yeah.
show. But we'll
Yeah.
get there
And
when we get there.
even during commentary, he said it. He's like, ever since that match with Gunther, he's like, I was so close to winning that championship. And he said, I've been obsessed with the idea of becoming a champion. So it's like after that, he's like, I won gold. And I like how even when he said it during this match, particularly when we have Wes in there, because Wes and Ali, I can't wait for that.
And Mark's right here. I've scolded Mark on many occasions, and now that he's not wrestling Gunther, Mark's able to see the forest through the trees. That Ali is great and real Ali, but we've said this since 205 Live. Anybody who's watched Ali since 205 Live knows that Ali, when he's cutting his own promos and doing his own thing, whether it was sending in his, Matt chat question via his cell phone to the shows when he was on 205 Live, where he'd cut those promos at home or anything like that, he was always so much better when he didn't have the WWE script, when he was able to just be himself. And he connects with so many people because his story is so good. He was a cop who gave up the life to become, I don't know if he really was, but in the kayfabe, he's a Chicago police officer who gave it up to, pursue the life of being a professional wrestler. And he wrestles for his wife and his family. And he goes ahead and donates the money from his Saudi shows to charity because he doesn't like how that... Okay, he was a real police... It's so often that in WWE they say something and I have to take it with a grain of salt because I never know how true even their true backstories are. So it's so hard sometimes. But he's such a great role model type story that people want to love him. People want to cheer for him. There's a reason why when he was wrestling Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander, and he was the heart of 205 Live. Cedric was the soul, and Ali was the heart. And if you haven't seen Heart versus Soul on the pre-show of one of the matches from, I think it's 2017 or 18, during the 205 Live era, there's a match on a pre-show between Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. And it is an absolute classic. And it's Heart versus Soul. And it was so good. Ali can get over. Ali should be and can be that person to take that title off Wesley and not damage Wesley. Especially if it happens, as I think it's going to happen, in a multi-man match. Because as good as he is in these multi-man matches, it looks like they're doing a four-way, right? That looks to be what we're getting. Ali versus Gacy versus Bate versus Wesley.
Yeah, sounds correct to me.
Yeah. And Mark did tell us the last time he was on NXT was in the Dusty Cup in 2016, where he teamed with Lince Dorado against TJP and Kota Ibushi. For those who don't remember Kota Ibushi in WWE, there was a blip in time when they did the first Cruiserweight Classic. And Kota Ibushi signed with the company to do the Cruiserweight Classic. And they kept him for a few extra matches. It's absolutely a wild time. As he says, also 2016, what a time. Dude, 2016 has some banger matches. And as he said, Jara says, it's the pre-show of WrestleMania 34. Thank you. I greatly appreciate you finding that one for me. Like I said, there's so many great matches with Ali. He can do this. And these are the kind of guys he can kill it with. It just adds one more big name player into that North American title picture. Not that they need it anymore. With Axiom, with Dabba-Kato, with Gacy, with Bate, with Wes Lee. Now you add in Ali, and you have Stacks when you get him out of the tag division. And you have Tony D'Angelo when you eventually get him out of the tag division with Stacks too. There are so many more guys in this division. That division is stacked. Not stacked, but stacked. What about my prediction for... No. I didn't even like your dynamic idea about Mustafa. No, it's not funny, Perry. Some you hit home runs with. Negative Ali is a good one. All Elite is not a good one. It wasn't as good. Sorry, Parrish. Every now and then you just miss. But yeah, God, that match felt like a backdrop to everything else going on after Ali showed up.
I feel like there was no match at this point. It doesn't feel like there was a match.
I mean, there was, but whenever anything happens that stops the match and then you forget that the match actually finished, it's... Anyways.
No.
As you said, Ava Raine comes down to attack Ivy Nile. Wait, is that this match? Yeah. Okay, that is this match.
That's like 1 out of 2.
I'm like, wait a minute, did this happen in this match?
Mm-hmm. We got it not once but twice.
Okay. I just
Yep.
wanted to make sure because I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't remember. Oh, because Ivy ran out. Okay,
Yeah.
I was reading it wrong in my notes. Is that Ava ran out? It was Ivy that ran out and attacked Ava, and that
Mm-hmm.
started the 6-person brawl with the dyad because they were already out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we have Tiffany backstage, and to quote Booker T, Tiffany looked good, Goodt, good, as Booker T would say.
It's not Groot? Okay.
No, it's good. It's like good, but it has a T at the
I
end. It's
know.
even better.
But it just reminds me of Groot. It doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't. Don't think about Groot.
I need
Um,
Groot.
we get a Chase U recap from Battlegrounds, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're in the ring teaching the grappling stuff that they were talking about that Thea didn't have. And Thea's getting all excited. And my mother asked, what the hell do they feed this psycho chick every day before she goes on camera? To which I said, I think it's cocaine.
I can't.
When my
I have no
when my
comments
mo-
for that one.
when my mother thinks she's a psycho, I think I have the right idea. I'm just saying. Um, she tells Duke that she has to get in there, and she grabs Duke and she says, let go of me. And she's like, well, no, you let go of me first, and then you can go in the ring. And she does. And Dempsey does great. He looks at her and he goes, no crying, no running
No
away.
running away.
Oh God, that one. Let's not put that one on Twitter. I really don't want the WWE coming after me. I do eventually want to have NXT talent on the show. I mean, never Tia Hale because that's not going to happen. But we might get potential Raw superstar Javier Bernal. But anyways,
Undefeated Raw superstar.
he's undefeated against Indusher, that's for sure. But Dempsey says no crying, no running away, and they get ready to go ahead and film another vignette that I thought we were going to see later tonight that we didn't see.
Right? I thought so too.
Believe it or not, I was actually excited to see the rest of this, and they left me hanging, and I'm pissed.
Bobby, you better clip this. It's this one. You gotta clip. He's excited to watch it.
Good evening, Astrid and Ol'Ed. No,
Good timing. There you go. Clip it, Bobby. You know which one. 102.
Paris says cocaine talk, but my idea was bad. Insert facepalm emoji. I didn't say that your comment was bad. I said that your comment didn't land.
Yeah, but technically it wasn't Ed. It was Mama Fry saying it, which makes it even funnier for me.
No. She just said that she's a psycho. I'm the one who brought up the
yeah,
cocaine.
but she started it.
She did.
So,
Because Tia
I give
Hale
credit to
looks
Mama
like
Fry's though.
she looks like a psycho. Have you not watched the same Tia Hale that I see week in and week out? Yeah. I've seen the Last Legend view thing has over 200 views. I'm not happy about that being one of my better performing shorts.
Great job, Bobby. Great content. I love
All
it.
right. We're moving on to a topic that makes me much happier. Tiffany Stratton comes out to celebrate herself. Hold on. Got my ice cold water right here. Calm myself down a little bit. She goes ahead and talks about how important it is that she's the champion. She talks about how important it is for the NXT championship and how future Hall of Famers have held this title. She mentions 4 people. Ironically, there's a name here missing that I was almost certain was going to come out that didn't. She says Charlotte, Asuka, Bayley, and Rhea. There's a name missing from this list. Sasha. You would have thought when you're talking about all-time NXT champions. Also, I'm a little upset that they didn't mention Shayna here. When you talk about all-time NXT women's champions, and I know you can't mention Mandy, so I understand why you don't mention Mandy. Because she's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, nor should she be. As much as I love Mandy, she's not a Hall of Famer. I still think Shayna could be. No, Parrish. Where was she? Shayna's winning the Raw tag team titles, the women's tag team titles with name redacted on Raw last night. Anyways, moving on. Talking about Tiffany Stratton. She then invites out the entire locker room to share in this moment, and nobody comes out. I don't know if it's because of the. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they wanted it to play like that, or they just missed the cue.
Yeah.
But it seemed weird that nobody came out.
Mm-hmm.
Because randomly they all start filtering out after the fact. Which is why I asked, did they miss a cue? Was there something supposed to be in between to filter the girls out? Because it was weird that they didn't.
I think it also kind of plays off of like she's the mean girl. So if like if the mean girl's telling me to go out there, I'm not gonna want to go out there. I'm gonna go on my own time. So that's the only thing I thought about maybe.
I agree. I think it works either way. I'm just curious as to which
I
one it
was too,
was.
yeah. I thought it was kind of odd the way it played off though. Like it made it seem like maybe it was a mistake there.
Like, were they forced out there by like Daddy Sean? Did Daddy Sean send everybody out there because they have to do what they're told? Like,
Yeah.
it just seemed weird. They all eventually come walking out slowly but surely, not giving a damn. She then teases the crowd with, well, do you guys want to hear what my big announcement was going to be? Which is going to be who her first challenger was. And then she beautifully, almost Alexa Bliss-like, which I think was great. It was on Today, with Alexa Bliss announcing her pregnancy. HBD, the happy birthday. The happy Heartbreak Dad did not approve, so they had to go out and see Tiffany. But Tiffany pulling out an Alexa Bliss. Oh, do you guys want to find out? Yeah? Yeah? Well, great. I don't care what you guys want. It's all about me. Oh, fantastic. They do all finally eventually come out. And she says that as they come out, she might as well retire with the championship because none of them are going to take it from her. And I don't know who she's pointing out, but I have no idea who she pointed to last. Where she goes, I don't even know why you're here. And for some reason, I just assumed that she was pointing to Brooklyn Barlow.
I thought she
Because
was putting at Lyra because of like she's the
Oh,
person that she defeated, but I wasn't sure though
okay.
because I think Lyra was on that side. But yeah,
She
it was
was.
very unclear. I wish it would have when she pointed at people, they would kind of zoom in a little bit more on them, so you could kind of be like, oh, she pointed at Lyra on this time when she said this. She pointed at this one when she said that.
Or she could have just named names.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to what comes next, I want to stop here for a moment. I take all the time in the world to praise Tiffany. I adore her. I think she's made leaps and bounds of strides she's made. However, this was not her A game. I don't think she killed it on this promo. I think portions of this promo she did really well. The bits that I talked about for the most part. There are long stretches of this promo that I didn't put and didn't mention because it starts to fall apart. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't feel like the 100% that she always does, and I don't know what it was, but it just didn't click. Like I wish it would have, because even towards the end, I don't know if it was just me in that part, but when they start coming in and attacking her, the way that like, she goes back and forth between them, I was like, that was not great, especially after they had done the confetti, so you can see the details about it. But yeah, I feel like there was bits and pieces like it was okay. Like when she said, "Oh, I'm the epitome of a WWE superstar" and things like that. Like that sounds like her. But like there were bits and pieces that even like I said, pointing out to the girls would have been better because she says, "You don't deserve this and you don't deserve that." I'm like, okay, but who are you talking about?
Yeah.
The like pinpointing the girls like that wasn't great. And yeah, that part I just like I wish it would have been done a little bit differently because I would have preferred like you know how with Alexa she had people in the corner so you can tell when she was turning around to somebody who she was talking about, especially when she goes towards Bailey. So you know she's talking about Bailey, what she's talking about it, but with her you didn't. So I'm like, okay, what are you talking about here though? You're not helping me right now. I'm
Yeah.
taking notes.
It it was a good promo, but she's done better. And it was bad that this is the first that we get after her championship title
Mhm.
win.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like there were portions of this that didn't feel like her. And maybe that
Yeah.
means that this promo was handed. And I bet you that this promo probably got a couple changes at the end of the day. I just wanted to make sure that while I praise her as much as I do, and she's deserved that praise, because in the year and a half or two that she's been here, she has killed it to get to the point she's at, where she's earned that championship title. She well deserves being champion. But man, tonight's promo didn't do the same. She announces that there will be a number one contenders battle royal, which is always the reset button, it feels like, in NXT. Oh, we don't know who we want to challenge the NXT Women's Champion? Battle Royal.
Yeah, that way it gives us time to like find somebody. So
Speaking of said find people in the Battle Royal, we have the graphic here. We can see Gigi Dolan and JC Jane are in this graphic, along with Cora Jade, Kiana James, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, Fallon Henley, Tia Hale, Valentina and Faraz, blonde lady in the
with
top.
Valentina and Julissa.
Yulisa. Okay.
Yeah.
I just go with Valentina and Faraz because that means I don't have to forget anything. Brooklyn Barlow, I've been instructed in the top corner in the blonde. Then you have Jakar and Lash, Elektra Lopez, random
The girl
lady.
Lola.
Was that Lola?
Yeah.
I was going to say random lady.
You don't recognize Lola. Oh.
So this is a very bad picture of Lola, and also it's
She's
not
right
her
next to Elektra, so it helps.
It's also not her best angle. Let's be honest.
Yes, they're amazing. Lola Vice.
Yes, Lola Vice. Then Tatum Paxley. And then this is the person you were telling me about all the way on the end with the curls. That's the Kiani something or other, correct?
Yeah. I'm trying to find again my notes where I put her name down. Shoot, I keep forgetting it.
Yes, it is Lola Vice.
Yeah, Kelani. There you go.
I adore Lola. I've followed her MMA career. I think she's great in the MMA. However, I've seen her from a lot of different angles, and that's not the angle I'm used to seeing her from. And it's also not a high-res image, so I wasn't able to see the beauty that is Lola Vice. Ol'Ed, you didn't know that? Next thing you're going to tell me is you don't like Tyrus. Are you even...
I'm not a wrestling fan.
I'm not a wrestling fan. I post... Billy Corgan. I'm going to go to... Bobby, 1 hour, 12 minutes on the dot. Billy Corgan is smoking some real good shit if he thinks that Tyrus is good for this business. Tyrus is as good for this business as Jeff Hardy is right now. And honestly, I'd rather watch Jeff Hardy stumble through and almost hurt himself in a wrestling match than have to sit through watching Tyrus defend one of the greatest world championships to ever live. I am a through and through WWE fan. I did not watch a lot of the NWA. That 10 pounds of gold is the most historic championship in the entirety of the wrestling business. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the fact that fucking Tyrus is holding that title after the good work that Nick Aldis went through to put that title back on the fucking map is a goddamn shame. And he would rather back Tyrus as a world champion and a reason to watch professional wrestling than run Empower 2 behind the hard work of people like Ella J and Mickey James and all of the fantastic women that put on one fucking hell of a show, and he says they can't draw. He is a fucking lunatic. His music is only okay from the beginning. 1979 is a garbage song, and the only reason why I know that one is because it's the last one I heard, because I randomly got my fucking satellite radio back the other day, and it was the song that was playing, and I went, this is garbage, and then I realized it was the fucking Smashing Pumpkins.
Woo! Go ahead!
Okay, back to NXT. Where the fuck was I? The Tiffany Stratton Battle Royal, yes.
Can't wait.
I see all your comments. I'm just going to leave them there. Thank you, everybody. I apologize for my rant.
That was an awesome rant. I love it.
I think that's the first one that we can all agree with Ed on. Normally we hear Ed's rants and go, what the hell is he thinking? This time it worked.
This is the one. Wait, this is the one I gotta show because there you go. Say it louder for the people on the back.
Is this one too? Say it louder for the people on the back. Again, this isn't an NWA. And by the way, to finish that rant, because there's a little bit more to that. There are some amazing people that are still in the NWA that deserve your attention. This upcoming weekend is the Crockett Cup. There are so many talented people in that tag team tournament, and that tournament is so historic and been won by so many people. I'm not dealing with Jay White right now, Parrish. Shut the fuck up. There are so many good people in that tournament that deserve your attention and deserve your pride. That tournament, if I remember correctly, was last won by the Briscoes last year, if I'm correct. And if not, it was 2 years ago. But I know it was really recently. The Crockett Cup in the NWA has so many talented people who deserve your appreciation. If you want to talk to somebody who appreciates the NWA, yes, also shout out Polo Del Mar, who does amazing work in the NWA. She is fantastic for the work that she does over there. There are so many good things going on there and so many talented people. And the fact that Tyrus is being pushed as their world champion and pushing people away from the product is a goddamn shame. Okay. Tiffany Stratton announces that there's a number one contenders battle royal for next week. We get glitter, we get balloons, and then scrolling up a ways because it was said a long time ago, how dare they hurt Tiffany and her Tiffabration? You don't hurt the Queen of NXT. They should all be arrested and no one should be allowed to challenge for that title. I agree with all that as well. I did love how some of the baby faces jumped in there and went ahead and attacked Tiffany. I thought it was cute. I thought it was a nice idea. I wouldn't have done it, as Astrid said, in the middle of the puff, in the smoke, in the smooth of all of the confetti and the cannons and balloons and everything else. Yeah. It's just, there are just some things that just don't.
No, it's none of those. I'm trying to breathe here and I can't. I'm trying to recover from everything that's said.
Do you have any more thoughts on Tiffany's celebration? All right. We get Trick Williams backstage with Da Party, as I've now named them. I'm stealing it from Xavier Woods and crew. They are no longer the Party. This is the new The Party. Because honestly, it kind of fits all of their gimmicks. I feel like Lash and Jakara are trying to be those like clubby girls that want to be popular and hang out at the club. Oro Mensah has a club gimmick already, so he fits that mold. And Noam Dar's the idiot in the club that thinks he's the biggest deal in the world and nobody really wants to hang out with him, but he's got money and he's got prestige and people want to hang out with him, so they go ahead and hang out with him anyways. So like, it feels like that kind of Da Party. So that's what I'm calling them from now on. Oro says that Mello should have just taken the night off, and then Trick flirts with Lash Legend. I don't know what it was.
Me neither.
Like, he ran down Jakara, who's essentially, as I saw on Twitter, wearing the same outfit as him.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were wearing the same outfit, except that Jakara had to have a shirt on because, well, some boobs are not created equal. Some boobs are not created equal. We'll just say it that way. We then get... Astrid, can you take over this next segment for me?
Is it the reveal, I'm guessing?
Yeah, the reveal. More importantly, who's out there to bring the reveal on?
Yeah.
Because until they played the vignette, I didn't understand why she was
I was going
there.
to say, the way they executed this was not great either, because I know they started playing off of, like, kind of playing back the attacks that happened before, leading into that. I don't know if it was me because I was also trying to watch, catching up on the opener, but I felt like it went from like the video package of like the attacks to Danny Palmer already being in the ring. I didn't get like an entrance from her, nothing. I was like, and I thought this was maybe an attack that I had missed because I thought this was something old, the way she's reacting to the screen. And I was like, that's so odd. But I see her kind of reacting to Roxanne getting attacked. So I was like, what is happening here? Maybe I'm crazy. And then all of a sudden, like, we get, the arena kind of being dark and the venue being dark. And like, oh, like the reveals come in. She's staring at the screen waiting for that person to pop up from the entrance ramp. But she gets attacked from behind. That's when they kind of turn the lights on a little bit. And the person keeps stomping her. And I see that, the blonde hair right there. So I was like, okay, blonde hair. I'm like getting some vibes here. Let's see who it is. And then after she gets attacked and thrown out of the ring, she takes the hoodie off, and it's none other than Blair Davenport, as Mark is saying. I'm not disappointed that it was her. I'm just disappointed by the execution overall of the segment, because I feel like you'd have done much more, like much better with this. And like I said, I feel like it was the whole video package. I thought Danny Palmer was part of the video package. Like it wasn't something that was happening right there and then. And just her taking up that hoodie, I'm like, of all people, I'm like, maybe it would have been better for somebody like Wendy that people like and people would have reacted to it. But I feel like there was barely any reaction to it as well, because I think people were confused as to what was happening. I don't know. I wouldn't have done a review this way. That's the only thing I kept thinking. It was like, if I'm somebody like if I'm the hooded figure, I would not come out like this. I really wouldn't. So it's like I didn't like how it was done though.
See, I would have done the segment the exact same way, but I would have made one change. Instead of Danny Palmer, who got attacked on an NXT live event that none of us outside of the Florida Loop have ever seen, and those of us who live in the Florida Loop didn't even know happened. We last saw the mystery attacker attack Roxanne Perez, who was just in the ring, same as Danny Palmer. Why wasn't it Roxanne Perez calling out the attacker to find out who attacked her last week?
Yeah.
I am in my throat. Please calm down. I apologize for those wearing headphones.
Thanks.
Yeah, I liked everything about this segment worked. I liked the fact that they had somebody in the ring calling for the reveal. I like that they had the video package showing all of the attacks. I like how they had the person about to pull off the hoodie and the mask to then get attacked behind the scenes and have the whole video go to black. All of that was great. I love the fact that it's Blair Davenport. It makes a lot of sense. I like it. It's pretty cool. She's the type of person who would do this. It fits the character that we already know from her. Great. Why was it Danny Palmer? Why the fuck is it your least popular, most unknown fucking person? Why didn't you just use Last Legend? Like, if you wanted to use somebody nobody gave a shit about, why didn't you use Last Legend? Like, how was this Danny Palmer?
Yeah.
And the way that they're like, oh, Danny Palmer's still... Even Vic Joseph is confused as to why Danny Palmer's still in the ring. It would have been better had literally one change. Just make it Roxanne again, what do you mean? Wendy had to get ready for taking over. Yeah, whether it be go ahead, whether it be, Danny Palmer, Roxanne Perez, Wendy Chu, bring Nikita out. I mean, she can stand there and get attacked. Bring out Nikita. Any of the people who got attacked would have made sense. Except for the one that you attacked on a house show that you didn't cover on the television show.
They covered only once. It was really too quickly done.
I honestly couldn't care. It was Danny Palmer on my fucking TV screen. She's almost as bad as Tyrus.
No.
Top Gaijin is in NXT. Yeah, the Top Gaijin's back in NXT. Again, I'm super excited to see Blair Davenport. Again, a big, huge, mainstream heel that can be at the top of the card with Tiffany Stratton. So now when you have that litany list of babyface, and God, looking through this graphic, look at the babyfaces they have on this roster. Gigi Dolan, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, Fallon Henley, Tia Hale, Yulisa and Valentina. Maybe Brooklyn Barlow. Who the fuck knows?
I was gonna say, would have been easier if you counted the heels.
Maybe Kalani. I don't even know who she is or if I'm pronouncing her name right. Maybe she's a babyface. I don't know. But there's a whole lot more babyfaces than there are heels. So another top heel to go with Tiffany Stratton, especially if you decide to switch that title. If for some godforsaken reason you decide to switch that title, another top heel to work with. Who do you think will win the Battle Royal? Fallon Henley? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be anybody we expect. I wholeheartedly don't. If you're going to be picking Roxanne Perez, I think you're going to be disappointed. if you're going to be picking Cora Jade, I think you're going to be disappointed. If you're going to be trying to pick JC Jane or Gigi Dolan, I think you might be disappointed. Gigi Dolan, maybe not a bad shout.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's no. I don't. Miko wrestles so very little. I saw you as another attacker would have been. I think Miko as the attacker would have been fun. I think that could have been fun. But she's never been that kind of final boss, so I don't think that would have happened. Miko is doing very little for NXT when it comes to in-ring competition. Even when NXT UK, they gave her the title as a kind of, we want to let you have all the matches you want to have, before you go off into the sunset. Maybe a main roster girl who has nothing going on, but none of them are free agents, so it doesn't really tell the story like when you have Ali come down, or when you have who came down in the after the main event. Like, without being a free agent, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I could see Tamina winning the Battle Royal, but Tamina's a heel. Like, I mean, I don't think she's ever going to get cheered, so I think you have a problem putting her in the ring with Tiffany. But I think putting any babyface in the ring with Tiffany might be a bad idea. So if you're going to go with a bad idea, it might as well be Fallon Henley. She could use the ring time. Her and Tiffany have a bit of chemistry, and she's not a psycho Tia Hale, who's honestly who I would throw in there. Mandy has... I keep seeing people saying Mandy. Let me reiterate this. Mandy has zero interest right now in going into professional wrestling. Her ring gear does not fit. She said it on a live stream about 2.5 weeks ago. Her ring gear does not fit. She would have to get brand new ring gear made because she's changed her workouts to suit her body now that she's not taking bumps every day. She has little to no interest in coming back, and unless they drive the Brinks truck to her house, she's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
No, Parrish. Anyways, after we have the reveal of the attacker, we get to Eddie Thorpe being pumped up by Idris Enofe and Malik Blade before Damon Kemp comes out there and talks about how, it was a good effort, but if you can't cheat to win, then you don't win. And I went, did Eddie Thorpe cheat to win against Damon Kemp?
I was wondering that too. It's like, when did he cheat? Did I miss something? Yeah, that's Melba's.
There we go, Melba. This is your spot. Eddie Thorpe was on screen without a shirt right after a match, all glistening with sweat. You should definitely go find that little segment. It's great. No, he came out here. It was fine. And we're going to get Damon Kemp versus Eddie too. And I'm fine with that. Because, ironically, their first match was actually pretty good. Until the weird ending, it wasn't half bad. So I don't mind having another match.
Yeah.
Parrish might be right. The Simon system did work. You can go ahead and, if you want to check out Simon Dean, go ahead and check out, I believe MLW has Simon Dean on their announced team now. Otherwise known as Matt Striker. Wait, that's not Simon Dean. Matt Striker was not Simon Dean. Never mind. Cancel that. Bobby's going to yell at me now. Anyways, moving on. We have Joe Coffey versus Stax. So, Astrid was catching up on some of the other stuff, so she didn't go ahead and watch this match for the most part. I, on the other hand, watched this match and couldn't be bothered one way or the other. Yeah, it's a different guy, I know. One way or the other, what was going on my TV screen. Which is weird, because unlike a lot of things that I don't click with on television, there's no reason why Joe Coffey versus Stax should have been a bad match. The story makes sense. Dumbledore does have Matt Striker, former teacher, turned wrestler, turned commentator. Yes. I did know that he was on commentary because I watched Battle Riot, and he did a really good job in that. And if you want to learn more about Fusion, and you want to see the human gift machine, you should check out Ring Respect Radio /Fusion this week on Thursday, where Bobby and Papa Smokes will most likely be talking about El Hijo de Vikingo being on... Vikingo, whatever the hell his name is. The human gift machine. The man who does crazy shit for no other reason than, why not?
Yeah.
I don't agree with Disco Inferno that we shouldn't watch his stuff. However, I don't know anything else he does other than the crazy shit. So how good can he really be? That's the problem. This is a topic for another day, and I think I have a host that can go ahead. Oh, Joe, he hates Joe Coffey. He doesn't hate
Okay.
Vikingo. He hates Joe Coffey.
Yeah, I was gonna
That
say
makes more
Vikingo.
sense.
Come on.
I don't even hate Vikingo. I just don't get Vikingo. Because like I said, other than being a gift machine, I don't think he offers a ton. But then again, I don't watch much of his matches, so I don't really know. I haven't studied him in depth. Maybe someday I should. Probably not. I agree we shouldn't watch Disco Inferno stuff, says everybody. I agree. Laura, good night.
Lord.
Bro, I heard you were spinning hard tonight. What did I miss? Oh my god. 1 hour, 12 minutes into the broadcast. Go ahead and check out a tiny little rant that I did on the NWA.
Tiny?
Just
It took like 2 minutes.
It took way longer than 2 minutes. Lord, we'll get you the raw footage later on tonight. Don't you worry. Anyways, back to the match. We have Joe Coffey versus Stax. It's weird that this match didn't click because the story's been good. Mm-hmm. Like Stax and Tony D and Gallus has been a well-told story with them being the ones who we all think are behind Tony D getting arrested.
I love that one. That suggestion.
that could be great. I think Luca needs to do all those kinds of things. I also want to get Luca out there because a video of me surfaced on the internet last week from Miss Astrid Pizarro that was supposed to be private that apparently went live onto Twitter that wasn't supposed to go there. So me and Mr. Parrish are going to contact Mr. Carusafino to defend us against Astrid. Anyways, sure. Again, the story's been good, but for some reason this match did nothing for me. I don't remember a whole lot of it. Stax runs himself and man, Stax ran himself into those stairs. Like he went full bore into those stairs. Like those stairs owed him money. And then Joe just throws him in, goes ahead and hits it's like a torpedo into the corner. Stax bounces out of the corner, goes ahead and hits his clothesline from hell. A clothesline from hell that JBL will be proud of too, by the way. That was one hell of a clothesline. Stax really got around on that. 1, 2, 3. Good match is what it is. Oh boy. We got HBC bad guys. Bomb Chico out. Yes, it's always great. Ol'Ed, just so you know, Lauren has created the advertisement we are inquiring about getting your name written on. Oh, yeah.
Can I volunteer as tribute?
Oh, Jay White. That might be next week's rant.
Yeah.
Tune in. Maybe we'll get a Jay White rant next week. I've already had the Tyrus rant tonight, and that's just enough. We had Von Wagner and Robert Stone backstage. Stone is very angry that Von is putting his free agent status in jeopardy. He's not upset at what happened. He's upset that it could cost Von his thing. And that makes sense. I like that. Mm-hmm. They've made Robert Stone start to make sense, which is scaring me. Because this partnership is starting to make sense. Mm-hmm. And I'm not liking Von Wagner. But I'm coming around on the end that Von Wagner may be more than just come Tuesday.
Bobby, clip that too. There.
No more clips. We have enough.
Well, no, we have a gazillion for tonight.
But Robert Stone says that we need to go ahead and have some counseling. And he says that he thinks that Von needs to see a therapist. And Von's like, no, it's just a ripoff. I don't want to spend the money. And Robert Stone's like, I'll spend the money. Will you go and agree to see a therapist if I fund it? And I hear therapist. And I hear WWE. And you know the only two words I can think of? Dr. Shelby.
Oh my God.
For those who don't remember Dr. Shelby, he was part of the Team Hell No Skits from forever ago. He was also the therapist in the Bailey and Sasha Banks stuff during the pandemic, or just before the pandemic, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the timeline of exactly when they had that, but it was the stop-start feud that they sorta had, and then they became best friends in the pandemic because they had nothing else to do with them. So, and then they carried the pandemic with Asuka because they were the best thing on TV at the time. Um, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on any of the things that I've talked about? I didn't give you a chance to talk about Joe Coffey versus Stacks because you specifically asked me not to talk to you about that. So
Oh
I
my god, I
didn't.
didn't watch it. I didn't pay attention. Like so.
Run the Wagner
Wagner.
wagon. I like that.
I love that one.
I
I love
like
that
that
name.
one. Didn't he do a thing with Alexa? I think he might have done the Alexa vignettes when she went to therapy with Lily before she came back this time. I don't remember if that was him or not. But he's WWE's go-to therapist typically. When WWE
Yeah.
has a therapist on screen, it's almost always Dr. Shelby. So I just have a feeling that's who it's going to be. Any thoughts on any of this, Astrid?
Not like you are, just like it feels weird that it's like starting to make sense a little by little with Vaughn, and even like when he's like, "No, I just don't want your free agent status to like go away because of it." It's like you could get fined, and then this can happen, this and that. I was like, he has consequences that are legit. Like, I'm surprised, but yeah,
Yeah, it was great that there's stuff going on and that things are making sense, and they're giving a chance to Von Wagner to do something of meaning and to do something of substance. So that's never a bad thing. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that either. Honestly, with the size of his head, that the time it probably could have been a bong, which is what started all of this. Is that picture with Von Wagner with his head and the deformity that he had as a child. It's all good stuff. We get a video package talking about Ilya's big win. I love this video package, by the way. This
yeah,
was fucking fantastic. Um, I would have done with another 20 minutes of this, to be perfectly honest with you. Um, Ilya talking to his son. Ilya back, in the hotel room getting dressed. By the way, how can somebody so psychotic in the ring look so damn good in a suit?
yeah,
Like, my God, that man wears a suit well.
yeah. Very,
Um,
he cleans up nice.
you know what I wish was still around just so I could see him wearing a suit all the time? Evolution. Like, he doesn't fit in Evolution, and he never would have. But like, I'm trying to think of like groups that wear suits that are recent because yes, the Four Horsemen too. But like, he would have been really really good as like a member of Evolution, which like fitting in with that suit gimmick. Like, could you imagine him like with a new version of Evolution with Randy Orton?
Oh my god, me dying. Yeah.
I just like, yeah, a main event Mafia kind of thing too. I mean, I know it's not Impact, so we can't quite do the main event Mafia. But I mean, I think that would have worked. Like, I just anything to get this guy in a suit more often is good. We find out that we're going to see more from Ilya next week, and he's going to go ahead and talk. I thought he was going to be the next challenger for the World Championship. I'll be honest. That's who I thought we were getting as the next challenger.
Yeah, as I said, I love the line that he said though too. He said, "Is it the pain that keeps searching for me, or am I the one that searches for the pain?" Or he's like, "Maybe I am the pain." And I was like, "Am I the him dressing up the behind the scenes that like the voiceover?" I was like, "I love this. Can we get more of them? I wouldn't mind it."
I miss. So WWE and NXT specifically used to do Prime Target, where they would pick out some matches for their upcoming pay-per-views, and they would have a separate special called Prime Target. It would be 30 minutes, an hour, and they would just showcase some of these matches, and they'd have these great behind-the-scenes things. And these are the things that WWE use so freaking well, because they just have cameras with everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they all worked for WWE after. It's all good. Yes, but the main event Mafia name didn't work for WWE at the time. Um, we get Jade versus Ivy Nile. Asher, do you remember
This
anything that
happened.
happened? Did you? I was gonna say, do you remember? I honestly don't even know how Jade won the match. I just have decent match. Jade wins. Remember nothing.
I don't remember anything beforehand. All I remember was mostly the part of like Ava coming in again. This is the second part, the time I told you she came on, and
Yeah.
then Ivy has her in the submission hold. But then that's when Cora takes the opportunity to hit Ivy from behind. Ava just falls to the floor, and Cora does apparently her finisher is called Jaded, just like Jade Cargo, apparently. Um, But yeah, she does the jaded, and then she wins, and then like she has a smirk of like, "Oh, ha ha ha, I beat you," and I'm like, "But you didn't do shit though." That's what pisses me off about this. Why? But yeah, and then after that, it's when we had the part of, I think it's backstage later on of like Ivy getting that interview, and she starts telling Ava, if you guys want to do this, and then we get Julius behind her saying, yeah, Daya, too, you too, if you want to go out, let's do it. It's like four, is it four roots and one stupid ass tree, is what he said, and they
One,
like
yep.
all brawl backstage. But yeah, I was like, I feel like I don't remember what happened before Ava got there. I don't know, for some reason I didn't know any of it. And all of a sudden Ava was there, and the match was over, and I was like, well, that went well.
I can say this: nothing bad happened before that.
No,
Like it wasn't the train wreck that Lyra versus Cora was the week before,
no.
but it wasn't as good as anything else. Like it was just broadly fine. It was a
Mhm.
match. It happened, and then it was over, and I was glad it was over.
No.
Um, Honestly, I just want this feud over because I don't understand why Ava Raine is in a feud with Ivy Niles still. Like I still don't understand why they're in a feud. Ivy got mad that Ava Raine sticks her nose in, but Ava almost never sticks her nose in anybody's business. Like she's out there on the outside of the ring, and she almost never interferes. Like I think she's done it like twice, and I think that's the two times that Indy Iva's like, "That's it, enough's enough. I'm done with this crap." And I'm like, to continue things on Ed's "I don't like this" bandwagon, we have Hank and Tank doing some dumb couples thing because
Couples.
now they think that they're on the same page after having beat each other up the week
Mm-hmm.
before. To make it worse, as if it wasn't already bad enough, Blade and Inoue come around the corner. Now, this doesn't feel like the same Blade and Inoue that we saw 30 minutes ago when they were talking to Eddie Thorpe.
No.
Is it weird that like, I literally didn't realize who these people were because they were acting so goddamn different than they were when they were pumping up Eddie Thorpe about 30 minutes ago?
Mm-mm.
All right, Mark, you have a great
No.
night. Thank you very much for sticking around. I know it's late for you guys. In the UK. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. And then on Astrid's channel, probably about an hour and a half later. um, But I didn't know who the two guys that were walking into the segment were because they weren't acting like Blade and Inoue.
No.
And then they start trying to do the same stupid couples thing and they can't get it right because nobody could ever get it right because it's stupid and it's not a smart thing at all to do. I hated this. We're going to get Tank and Hank versus Inoue and Blade, I think, next week.
Yeah. That's what
I'm
I'm
pr-
thinking next week.
I'm praying it's on Level Up because then I don't have to watch it.
Dang.
We get Mello and Dar making their championship entrances backstage. And then this is where we get the aforementioned Dyad and Ava versus Diamond Mine fight backstage. We get an update of what's going to be exactly on the card next week. They only mentioned Thorpe versus Kemp 2 and the Battle Royal. They also mentioned that Ilya will be back next week to go ahead and say what's next for him.
And I think that this is Ivy mentioned the match, but I don't think they confirmed it on screen at least.
Yeah. No, Noam Dar, not Dara. I did make a mistake there. You did not wrestle in
You wrestled in
A
the main
champion.
event are amazing. You didn't realize that?
Maybe that's why he was so late to the show because he had to get done wrestling the main event.
Yeah, you see.
If that's the case, I saw you in Lowell the other night, and you didn't say hi to me. What the hell's up with that?
I forget about people when I'm wrestling.
Yeah, no. I also added for next week's show. I have it as 2 matches because they didn't differentiate between if it's going to be a 6-person tag or if it's going to be 2 matches. So I have Ivy versus Ava and Dyad versus the Creeds, and then I have in parentheses 6-man tag.
Yeah.
I don't want to see either of them. I really don't, to be perfectly honest with you. And then we get the main event. Astrid, go ahead and talk about the main event, or more importantly, probably you want to talk about what comes after the main event. But go ahead and take your spin on it, and I'll fill in the blanks afterwards.
I mean, the part that really like I wouldn't say I don't want. I'm not saying the match was bad, But the part that really stood out was like we always say have Trick on Carmelo's side, but we have Noam Dar has three people on his side. So obviously they have the numbers advantage. We had a moment that the referee is looking over, and Oro makes it seem like Trick attacked him, so they kick out Trick from the side here, and that way we have Carmelo with nobody, and then Noam Dar still has three people. And then after that, as the match is going on, I keep thinking, oh yeah, they're making it look like Carmelo has the odds against him because he doesn't have backup. And I thought, where Dragon Lee and Nathan, and then Q, and they come in and they assist. They go to face with Or and Noam there for a moment until they point at the top, and it's when Carmelo's coming in with a crossbody. But even even Or tries to distract, and the girls are distracting the referee to kind of help in there until Nathan and Dragon Lee arrive. But then we go from like no one putting a submission on Carmelo to Carmelo putting a submission on Noam Dar. Um, and then we get that interference, and it's like after like I think the crossbody is when they go in the ring and the match ends.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part that I thought was funny because you were ahead of me, so you wrote I think oh my gosh, and I'm like
I
why is
wrote
he
holy
talking
shit.
about? Because all I see is Carmelo with his championship like raised as if just because he won the match. And all of a sudden, then I see the person attacking him, but I didn't recognize the tattoos at first, and that's an epic fail on my end. But it took me a moment to realize who it was. It's my beloved, one of my favorites, the one and only Baron Corbin has arrived to NXT again.
Yeah, this match was fantastic. It was a great TV main event. It ends clean, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I guess he wins clean. It was a good match. It was everything it needed to be. It made Noam Dar feel important. It
Mm-hmm.
beats Noam Dar, which you have to do because you have to make Melo feel like the bigger champion. But you don't have to have Noam Dar strong enough. He can afford a loss. It was an impromptu match. Everything didn't go his way. You know, Dragon Lee and them were out there. It tides over what they needed to do tonight to go ahead and go out to deal with what's going to come next. And yes, the resurrection of the Lone Wolf, maybe. Baron Corbin has said on Twitter and on Instagram multiple times that he's trying to revive the Lone Wolf, that he's trying to get out from the gimmicks he's on because he likes the Lone Wolf as much as everybody else likes the Lone Wolf. The only problem is we won't get the same Lone Wolf music because it's a Jim Johnston original, which means we're going to get a Def Rebel crap version of it. Breaking news: Local Golden Glove lover, glove, local Golden Gloves boxer attacks NXT champion. I agree, you can still use it. WWE won't. That you could still use it. There's no reason you can't. Just
Yeah.
WWE won't do it, which is the
I'm gonna
problem.
miss the long hair though with the stuff, but I feel like it would be amazing just to hear the crowd like counting again down for his matches when they used to have that. Even like the entrance, because that's something that I liked about him. The visual from the entrance, Chef's Kiss. I always
The
loved it. He
multiple
was always one of my
spotlights.
favorites.
Yeah, the
Yes,
multi
and like yeah, the whole thing, the whole presentation that he had as the Lone Wolf, I loved it. So that's my moment.
Parrish. WWE does use multiple Jim Johnston themes. That is correct. However, have you noticed that all of the themes that are getting changed are all either Jim Johnston or what was the other one? Dollar sign.
CFO was
CFO dollar sign.
no.
All those themes are getting redone and reworked. It's why Asuka's theme got reworked because it was a Jim Johnston one, and when they brought her back as Kana, they wanted her to have a new theme, so they wanted her to have something else. They don't want to keep paying people who they don't have on their payroll, who they don't want to acknowledge. It's unfortunate, but it's the shitty way WWE does business sometimes.
That's what I think too.
Cole Fisher, O'Reilly Strong, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, CFO dollar sign. By the way, I CFO dollar signs made some of the best music. And I love how the reason why WWE dropped them is because their record company, this is a true story. CFO dollar signs regular record company was telling WWE that they were going to have to pay more in royalties to continue using the CFO dollar sign music. So WWE's like, well, fine, we'll just get rid of you guys and we'll get rid of, the contract. And then CFO was having an issue with their people, and they were like, no, we want to go back to work for WWE again. Look, if you can help us win the lawsuit to buy us out of our contract with our record company, we'll work for you and only you, as your premier music company. And WWE's like, no, I don't want to sink money into this. You're done. We're just gonna get a new group. Yeah, it's so funny how WWE is with music. The main event was great. Baron Corbin coming out. Wow, I did not see that coming. Chef's kiss. The shirt, Dream Crushers. I love that shirt. I don't know if it's his or if it's somebody else's. It didn't even look like a WWE shirt. It looked like, agreeably, it looked like a different company's wrestling shirt. Yeah, Cole, F. Sabu, O'Reilly, and Strong. Yes. Definitely F. Sabu. We can all agree. Baron Corbin being on NXT is such a joke move. I agree. I love that bringing the free agents down to NXT. It makes so much sense. And we questioned this in the draft. All of our shows where we talked about the draft and different things going on. We all questioned if they're a free agent, are they available to NXT? Apparently the answer is yes. And Shawn Michaels is going to make do with two of the best free agents in that class. Because they've gotten Baron Corbin, who people forget how good of a heel he can be. Like, this is the man who got to End of Days Becky Lynch on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You don't get men on women violence much where the man's coming out on top. And he got to End of Days Becky Lynch, one of your biggest female attractions at the time. That's a big deal. This dude was on top of the world, and the WWE used him as a scapegoat for bad ratings, where they fired him as the Raw GM. When he was doing a really good job, by the way, helping run Raw. His character was doing so good as Constable Corbin. I've loved this guy from the beginning. I've always thought that there was money in Baron Corbin. I still think he needs to be world champion. I don't think he's beating Carmelo Hayes, but wow, this is going to do great things for Melo in the in-between times. This is going to do some really good stuff for Carmelo.
Yeah.
More importantly, there are some banger matches down the line if they can keep Baron Corbin there longer. Like, first off the top of my head, Ilya Dragunov versus Baron Corbin. Sign me up. I want that. Wes Lee versus Baron Corbin. Yeah, I'll have some of that too while we're at it. I know we've already seen it a bunch of times, but they're both here. Mustafa Ali versus Baron Corbin in NXT? Sure. I have a feeling NXT backstage people will put a much better spin on that feud than Raw SmackDown did, when basically Baron Corbin would go, "You're short. Ha ha ha."
Yeah.
Vaughn and Baron could join forces. No. That's not going to happen. I don't really want it to happen, but it could. It could be fun. I could see it. I think if nobody else, Baron Corbin could teach Vaughn a little bit about how to do what he does. There'd be Baron Von Corbin. Yes. We've had a hell of a show. We've almost hit 2 hours, which we haven't done in about, I don't know how long. It's been a long time since we've hit almost 2 hours on a recap show, considering the entire show was 2 hours, and we're approaching how long the NXT show was. Before we get to our plugs, I want to go ahead and talk about what's coming up this week. So we're going to go ahead and play the weekly calendar video, and we'll be back in just over a minute. Yes, so those are all the wonderful things that you can see coming up this week. You can go ahead and make sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/our local establishment. For any show that you miss, you can go ahead and check it out there for video on demand. Go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. We're about 125-ish subscribers last time I checked on YouTube, so we can keep pumping those numbers. You can go ahead and find us on Twitter and Instagram at Ole Podcasts, OLE Podcasts. You can go ahead and find us on Twitch as you've seen us right here at Our Local Establishment. Same thing for YouTube at youtube.com/Our Local Establishment. You can go ahead and, like I said, go to our sponsor, RogueEnergy.com, and use the promo code OLEPods to get 10% off your order. Astrid, what wonderful things do you have coming up on this week that's going to be a lot slower than what it was last week?
Finally. You can find me on my Twitter is Astrid Pizarro, Instagram Astrid Pizarro 20. Other than the rest of this week, you can find me doing making an impact with Cody. That'll be on my YouTube channel, my Twitch. And the next week again back with you, doing taking over. Hopefully another rant for next week. And then let's see. Oh, on Sunday you get my NXT review to on women's wrestling talk. I know, as Bobby's saying, we're gonna be recording Killer Cuts next week. We have a special guest for that one, so that's gonna be exciting. Um, Other than that, the things I'm working on, I can't say until they come out, so I have to wait a little bit longer. So watch on the social medias for them.
I know what's coming out. For me, you can find me here on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on Twitch in a Twitch stream at edfries2002. I will be streaming not GM mode, not WWE2K on my own personal Twitch, but I'm working on a layout to go ahead and stream on a secondary account starting from the beginning, Marvel Snap. So go ahead and check that out. I've enjoyed Marvel Snap on my main account where I've done a lot of good things. But I want to go ahead and go back to the beginning and show people that even if you start now, you can go ahead and be competitive and have some fun playing Marvel Snap. You can find me this week. Tomorrow night, you can find me on Wrestle Draft with Chris Parrish when I once again go ahead and beat up Chris Parrish and Mr. Eric Bischoff as we have our next premium live event. No, we just had our premium live event. We are now doing weeks 12, 13, and 14, heading into our next premium live event. Sorry, got a week ahead of myself there. You can also catch me this Sunday, if I see the movie over the weekend like I'm supposed to, talking Marvel Talk with my man Andre C. in a show that I gave him to be able to do The Flash later on in June. We are going to be doing, on next Sunday, we're going to be doing Into the Spider-Verse 2. Not a movie I really love. I didn't love Into the Spider-Verse, I'll be honest. I don't connect with Miles Morales as much as other people do. He's a great Spider-Man, but it's different. Yes, you are rich now, which is going to make that next show a pain in the ass to deal with. But I will still continue kicking everybody's butt in the ratings as I always do. With that being said, I have been Ol'Ed. This has been Astrid Pizarro. We are going to head on out. I don't know if we have a raid, so give me one moment while I see if we can find a raid. Astrid, go ahead and talk about what you're looking forward to most from next week's episode of NXT.
What do we get more with the reveal? Hopefully something better than what we got tonight, maybe. That would be great. I think. I hope. At this point. And let's see what else. Oh, we got Ilya, so that should be good as well.
No.
I do wonder like if it's gonna be like a 6-person tag for that one. That's the only thing that I'm like, do we do it at one swoop and then be done, or do we do 2 different matches?
It's not going to be done if we do it in one spoil swoop. We're going to have to do. We're doing them both.
No, but I mean just one match and you're done rather than having 2 matches.
Yeah, and
So.
I have a bad
I
feeling.
know.
Unfortunately, I don't have access to the Twitch anymore because somebody had to get access to it on Sunday and then change the password. And I know what the new password is, and I'm not typing it in while I'm on the show. So that being said, again, I've been Ol'Ed. This has been Astrid Pizarro. We're going to go ahead and play the Battleground vlog one more time as we head on out, and we will see you next week.